Okay, hello again, everyone. Welcome to Module 1 of our intermediate training. What we're going to cover in Module 1 today are the display objects. We referred to them before. We kind of briefly covered them during our basic training. Display objects, and really these are mostly configurable in Dran-VIew Enterprise. I will show you times where Pro cannot have these options where they're only in enterprise, but for the most part, you can consider what I'm going to show you as far as adding charts and taking away charts. These are Dran-VIew enterprise only capabilities. So basically what we're calling an object in Dran-VIew is anything that you see here. And the way Dran-VIew works is really, whether it's Pro or Enterprise, when you load up a file, as I have here, and this is this basic SAG directivity module that we spoke about last week, everything starts with an object. This is the timeline object, and this is the event chart object. So in Pro, these are fixed. You really can't configure them. You can change names and things like that, which we will talk about in, and I think it's the next module that we'll have today. But you can't change these, move these around, add to the objects, take away the objects. These are Dran-VIew enterprise only capabilities. So how do I do this? How do I modify the object? So the first thing to recognize is that, again, like with anything in Dran-VIew, you need to have the active pane selected. So if I'm going to add an object or insert an object to a view, whether it be the timeline history view or the event detail view, I need to click once in there and then select the object and insert it. So just like any tool, it's going to work on the active pane. So to insert objects, I click Insert in the ribbon bar. And then you can see we have a whole bunch of options here. Now we're going to talk about the first 3 of them in this web training. And then we're going to, or in this module, I should say, and then we're going to cover the remainder in the next one. We're going to talk about some of the convenience and annotation features. So to insert an object, I have a file open and I just click the chart object here. So I can add charts, I can add tables, I can add phasers. And again, what I'll talk about in the next module is text, images, and annotations and things like that. So a chart, and you can see we have charts here. It defaults with the time plot chart and the event chart, which you can see here. Here's the time plot chart and the event charts over here. Well, I have the ability to reproportion this and move charts around. I can add charts, I can delete charts. So as an example, if I go back to my timeline chart and it's my active pane, I right click, I can delete that. Now I can go to chart and insert a timeline chart. So I just deleted it and I just inserted it again. You probably won't be doing that during your normal troubleshooting or analysis work, but that's just to demonstrate what we can do. Now, the charts add value typically to what you have here in timelines and events. Most customers leave these here and add to them. So as an example for the charts, I can add a load profile chart. So, and let me just delete our timeline chart just to make this the maximum thing. I've added a load profile chart, which is actually more appropriate if I go to the right over here. So I'm going to add this over on the right. And let me delete this. And you can see it's the same chart actually. So this is giving you a load profile from within Dran-VIew. So you have the ability to add events. You can add load profile. You can add event details. You can add harmonic information. So as an example, I'll just delete this and I'm going to put back in our event details. You can see I have an event selected with harmonics. So the event details is my active pane. I select chart, I select harmonics, and you can see I have a harmonic distribution of the data selected in the particular event. So it's actually recomputing these harmonics from the wave shapes in the event recorded. So you can change the size, you can reproportion this, you can move this around, you can change the properties of this as well. So if you follow the guidelines that we had last week, where you can change what is within a chart, so I can go right click, I can go properties, and now I can select which channels I include in the harmonics. So this has all the voltage. Maybe I just want the voltage and the current for channel A. So I can change the chart for that. I can change what's included. I can reference this to the fundamental. I can display these. These are defaulting here as displaying as units. I can change to percent of fundamental. So I have full control of this. But the point being is that these are dynamic charts that I can add or take away from any particular graph on the left, or the history graph on the left, or on the event details here on the right. So other options to display, I have the ability to add a magnitude duration. So this is like Sabima and ITIC chart. So if I go, this is more appropriate on the left. And actually, let me delete this this harmonic chart here, so we're a little less cluttered. Oop. Oh, you can just click the delete key. Okay, thank you, Thor. So I'm going to make the timeline chart my active pane, and then I'm going to add the magnitude duration chart. So this is a Sabima plot. I can right click on this. I can change the properties to make it an ITIC chart. And I believe we also have SEMI 47 is available in there as well. So now again, just like any chart that I've added, I have the ability, we're going to cover this later, to change the name and the title, the font, the colors of what I see. I have the ability by right clicking and going to properties to change the appearance and the contents of this chart. Again, there's not much in this database here, but you can get the point that we can add or subtract charts from here. Some other charts that are available, you have a cumulative probability, and you have a probability density chart as well. These are for some more advanced applications that may want to do some statistical analysis of the events that have been recorded. These don't follow any particular power quality standard that I'm aware of, but can give you a statistical summary of the type of information that's in the database that came from your instrument. So again, what we're showing here, we're showing the results of analysis of data that came from one of our instruments, like an HDPQ as an example. So let me delete this to, again, keep us a little less cluttered here. Then we have the table summary. So if I pull down that, we have the choice of a max table, a min-max average table, a KWH table, which shows you the energy used. This is an integration table. It shows you basically the area under the curve. This is a phase table, shows you the phase shift between channels. And this is a dip distribution table, DISTIP table, which is common as part of EN 5160 and some other standards out there. So again, just like pretty much any type of chart or table, you select your active pane. And then as an example, you just click it. It may ask you to drop it on the chart that you want it active, which I did. And you could see these are the maxes recorded in this for all the active channels. It's the maximum, and the at is what time that maximum occurred. All right, so it's that simple. Now I'm going to just delete this. And now I'm going to select the min-max average. This is one of my favorites. And just because it's very good, because it's not only maxes may be important for measuring energy, measuring demand, measuring current. But when you talk about voltage and things that are fluctuating, sometimes you need the min and the average as well. So that's added to this table. It doesn't give you the time that it occurred, because the mins can happen at different times than the max, and then averages over your intervals. But it is a very productive table. And again, you can right click, select the properties, and you have different options for these tables. You can look at statistics, you can look at peak values, you can customize it for energy calculations, and all these different things. And these are kind of advanced options to cover that's kind of beyond the scope of what we're talking about today. So with anything, you just basically select the table that you want. Another popular one, and let me, this isn't going to really have much data for you here in this file. I go table, KWH. I can show the energy used during a period. It's not appropriate for the data that we have selected here, but again, another example of the types of tables that you can have. So again, the max table, min-max average, KWH, the integration table, phase shift or phase change table, and the dip distribution table here, the disk dip table. So again, you make sure you have the active pane selected where you want it, and just click the icon here and it'll show up into your table. You may be asked if there's multiple things that are being displayed, you may be asked to drag it up. And so Dran-VIew knows which chart you want, or which object you want to apply this summary table to. So last but not least in this section, we're going to talk about phasers. So phasers, this is a very good application of phasers here on the right on the event details. So I'm going to make that my active pane. And again, I see that you see that blue border means it's the active pane. And then I'm going to click phaser. Now phaser chart appears. I can move that chart. Maybe I prefer it down on the bottom. So I've just dropped it to the bottom. I can change the size of it. I can drag the corners. If I can get that with my mouse, and I can change the size of this table. If I want to change the contents of the table, like the other things, I right click and I select properties. So within the properties, I can show what I want in here. So maybe I want to look at the phase relationship between voltage and current on channel A. And you can see that here. All right, so you can see there's A voltage and A current. You can see A current lagging voltage a little bit, which is a properly phased circuit here. So if I go to properties, I can change anything that I'd like to see here. I can relate it, if I'm viewing harmonics, which doesn't apply here, I can say where it's a reference to, the fundamental, different things like that. So that's it for this section. Again, just in summary, to modify the charts, you can drag and you can drop charts. These are Dran-VIew enterprise capabilities. If you want to add to a particular pane, like the history pane or the timeline pane or the event details pane, you simply select the pane that you want, make it the active pane. You go to either charts or tables or phasers and basically select what you'd like to see, and it'll appear in that pane. So as an example, charts, I select the type of chart, and once you select here, it'll be added to that active pane.